I got your work up. My first recommendation would be this: is that anytime you're going to make a presentation, whether it be to somebody, your classmates, or your instructor, or creative director, or client, anything, you really want to make it as specifically clear as possible. So what I would say in that regard is that to remind your viewer where your location is and what your basic premise is and your basic mission, as it were. And I think that's really important. I think the next thing is that you're going straight to these visual kind of inspiration, which is fine, but it's not the direction we're looking for in this particular assignment. And I want to address that a little bit. Okay, let me talk about that a little. And look, I think I just want to say, I've been designing for well over pushing 25 years, and I've worked with designers all over the world. And a lot of designers disagree about things. And one thing that just about every designer I've ever come across agrees upon is the importance of sketching. The sketching stage to concept development is of paramount importance. Many years ago, when I graduated from my master's program, my thesis was basically on this subject, the importance of sketching and its relevance to concept development. And in that, one of my studies in that particular thesis was I did some group studies. I did this actual same study several times. What I did is I had one half of a group of students go straight to the computer and do things like this, look for visual inspiration and just jump straight on the computer. I had the other half go straight to the sketchbook, and they weren't allowed to touch the computer until 2 or 3 days of solid sketching and really good conceptual development based on their visual representations on Sketch. Okay, and guess what? 99.99% of the time, the sketches were of superior value compared to the visual renderings. The reason I say this is because your mind cannot possibly, the computer can't keep up with your mind. You can sketch ideas at lightning pace. Did you ever watch an Aaron Draplin video? Go to YouTube and look at some of Aaron Draplin's videos and how he sketches out his ideas for his logo development. And he's one of the best, of course, but and just watch him sketch and watch the wheels turn. And he continuously says the mind just cannot, the computer can't keep up with your mind. Your sketching your sketch ideas, you can sketch 50 ideas per every couple seconds, and it's just a matter of rapid fire. And the computer, you're doing this, you get stuck into these things, and you just can't, your mind just can't move fast enough to develop different concepts and different iterations of various concepts. Okay, and for that reason, I'm missing the sketches. I'm missing your sketch stage completely here. Excuse me. And I think it's really important that you jump to the sketch stage instead of trying to jump straight to these visual interpretations that you've created here digitally. You're jumping straight into the logo, and I think that you're just really putting the proverbial cart in front of the horse. I think what you need to do is just take your writing, all that research that you did, read through it again, and then read through it another time, and then read through it a third time, your own writing, and just every time you read through it, just keep on sketching some things out. Every idea you have from the basic, the cultural aspects and the historical relevance of the indigenous peoples of Iceland, and just really start sketching things out in that regard. Excuse me. Another thing that I want to point your attention to is it is actually part of the assignment. Okay, what is due this week? Begin organizing your thoughts in a written draft, and that's what I was talking about the presentation, and letting your viewer, apprise your viewer exactly of what your intentions are, what you're doing, and what you're showing us. Okay, and that would be manifested in this begin to organize your thoughts in a written draft. Okay, and then remember in our introduction video, I said give us six solid sketches, as many logo concepts and pictograms. That doesn't make sense. I want you to give us 6 pages of sketches of your logo concepts and pictograms and other identity elements you can think of. Okay, so that is what I'm talking about, the sketch stage. So right now we don't have any sketches at all. We just have these digital renderings, which I think, again, I'm putting the proverbial cart in front of the horse. Format all your concepts in a story, in a PDF, and upload it to the discussion board. So basically, now the reason I don't think these are as effective as they can be is because these are basically you developed these while you were in the research stage. So these are old concepts. I mean, you learned so much more between then and now that these are basically obsolete. Okay, plus we don't know what we're looking at because you haven't really given us any idea. Like this, we see these kind of bells on this iteration and this iteration here. So what are they significant of? What is this we're looking at here? What is this? Why is this gradient here? What is this building and what is the background? Why are they there? Why is the 2 separated from the O2 and the other 2? Why is the year separated? So these things all need to be addressed so that your viewer can really make a solid judgment on the actual work itself. So what I would like to see you do is just go back and just go to the sketch stage and just, honestly, you're not going to like this, but I would forget all of these. I would throw them out and start over and just really start looking, Google, go to a Google visual image search and just start looking at symbolic Iceland or symbols depicting Iceland or ancient Icelandic symbols or things like that. Cultural symbols representing Iceland, things like that, and that will help you to develop this visual library that you can use in developing the logo and some of the other pictograms, etc. But I definitely would not go to the digital stage yet. It's just too early in the process. Okay, I hope that makes sense, David. I don't want to sound discouraging, but if there's one thing you know about me by now, and if you don't, you will find out quickly. And a lot of students in the class that have had me for several classes before will attest to this. There's one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to direct you towards student portfolio, meaning that I would like you to come out with a portfolio-worthy piece here that makes sense, that's conceptually sound, and that's well developed, so that when an experienced portfolio reviewer like myself or some other experienced portfolio reviewer will look at this and they'll say, okay, this is good because it shows a very good conceptual development, as opposed to, and I don't want to sound offensive, but this basically looks jumbled together. You got a lot of things going on here that aren't working. Separating the 20 from the 22, that's not going to work. Placing the rings, the Olympic rings, over a graphic, that's not going to work because somewhere in the Olympic branding guide that's not allowed. Those rings should probably not be obstructed with other graphics in front of or behind them. This right here is so small that we back down, and this logo becomes basically, you just can't tell what's going on at small sizes. Same with this, and to an extent the same with this. And the other logos too. I mean, look what happens at small sizes. They basically disappear and break apart. So I don't want to sound discouraging. I don't want to sound like I'm picking your work apart, but this is interesting right here. That's very interesting logo. But again, tell us what it means. What is it pointing to? What does it mean? What are the developments here? And what is the concept behind each of these? Okay. And again, I just want to reiterate, I don't want to sound discouraging at all, and I don't want to sound like I'm shooting your work down. I just really, really want this to be a portfolio-worthy piece for you to exit the class with when that time comes. You have a tangible piece to show what you've learned in sign and symbol. All right, David, any questions, comments, and concerns, please let me know. But again, review the project specs for this week. What is due? Begin to organize your thoughts. We need a written draft. And then we said, and I remember I said in the opening video, I said, give us 6 solid pages of as many logo, concept, pictograms, and other identity elements as you can think of. Just get these down on paper. If you want a really great example of this, take a look up here at Janelle's got Iceland too, so you want to take a look at that and take a look at my comments to her. And then Brian's got just a fantastic series of sketches going on here, so you might want to look at those as well. All right? Any questions, let me know. Thanks, Dave.